CinePals.
I take it you have never seen an honest trailers before, right?
I haven't.
It's like a regular trailer, but they're making fun of the movie if it was honest.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jabby Quaid, joined by Emanuela Bouvier.
Something like that.
It's a very hairy name to say.
Bouvier.
Bouvier. Okay.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I'll take some French lessons next time. So we're looking at honest trailers. Oppenheimer. Did you like Oppenheimer?
I did.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
7.8.
That's pretty good. I liked it. I don't know how many more times I would volunteer to watch it.
For sure.
You know,
I think once is good.
I did have some gripes with the film, to say the least, for it being 3 hours long. I think it could have explored more things. But anyway, let's see what Screen Junkies has to say about this. If you guys haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, bell icon, practicing my French. Subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications. Pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. While you're subscribing and upvoting, subscribe to Screen Junkies. There's a link in the description below for the video we're about to watch. Here we go.
The following trailer is rated S for spoilers, for stuff that happened 80 years ago. From a pale genius who's cold, principled, and unfairly maligned, comes a Nolan film about that same kind of guy. For like the, fifth time now?
Oh my
He's
God.
got a type.
That's true.
Oppenheimer.
I didn't think about that.
Meet J. Robert Oppenheimer, a man smart enough to understand Tenet on the first watch.
You see beyond the world we live in.
He's the rare nutting professor who may not have what it takes in the lab,
Useless in the lab.
Would you like to help?
Build it? Oh no.
Oppenheimer couldn't run a hamburger stand.
I couldn't.
but he's the only man you call when you need a theoretical physicist
You're talking about turning theory into a practical weapon system.
/ meteorologist
It'll be before dawn.
How can you know that?
I know this desert.
/ polylinguist.
You learned enough Dutch in 6 weeks to get elected.
To be fair, that was his home territory. That's why Oppenheimer built there.
Yeah.
He knew that area intimately, which was the wrong place to do it because of the fallout, which the movie doesn't cover at all. Thanks, Nolan, for that. Anyway, I know. Jokes. I get it.
You learned enough Dutch in 6 weeks to get a lecture on quantum mechanics.
And now I am become death, destroyer of worlds. Oh, I've read Das Kapital, all 3 volumes in the original German.
Okay, we get it. Normally when a guy wants to convince us he's this smart, he just buys Twitter. Experience a sight that's equal parts haunting and beautiful. Extreme close-ups of Cillian Murphy's face. Ow! As he adopts a permanent bug-eyed stare that screams, "What has science done?" Or just as likely, "Help! I'm a skeleton who runs on cigarettes."
Yeah, I think the honey on the rim of the martini glass, that was his nutrition for the day.
calorific intake.
Eat. In this
That's hilarious. I forgot about that. Because he doesn't really eat in the movie. He's so like malnutrition looking. You know, he's got that, what is it called? The heroin chic look going on.
I think Cillian went method for that. He was eating like, I don't know how many almonds a day and like.
Oh, really?
I read something about that.
Oh, but he's always kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw him full frontal naked in 28 Days Later. He's always been a skinny dude.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
In this powerful performance that exposes every inch of him for you to judge. You were so close to killing 4 days of history class with this, but you
Okay, hold on. So just YouTube is, I'm not showing that picture in picture just now. I don't know why Honest Trailers is doing this. So YouTube is very persnickety about hiding nudity. If there's like implied nudity and you're covering it with a box, you can't do that. Like, I don't know if Honest Trailers got demonetized, but I certainly have been the victim of that. Even when you blur it, it's not.
You just had to go and hang dong, huh? Back to Fat Man and Little Boy on VHS then.
It's all about ass, isn't it? Sir? You kick it. Or you lick it.
No giggling.
What?
Settle in for a 3-hour film that's kinda like Inception.
I'm teaching something no one here has dreamt of.
If every layer of dream was a different congressional subcommittee.
It's now a trial.
About a trial.
Telling Oppenheimer's story through a cabinet confirmation hearing.
Why were his communist associations not seen as a security risk during the war?
About a security clearance renewal process.
My involvement with left-wing groups would not purvey bar to my working on the atomic program.
regarding an informal roundtable,
What were you guys doing in Los Alamos? Wasn't security tight?
Of course it was.
and a raucous joint committee session.
Isotopes are less useful.
Oh, they're trying to create that Inception
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah.
That ends in a shocking twist. The man Robert embarrassed at the AEC secretly handpicked the Gray Board special prosecutor. Gasp. I can see I lost you there. Big bomb go.
That was a funny shot.
Gasp! I know where this joke is headed. I wasn't expecting that to be the punchline to the joke. The stakes in the movie, like on paper, don't seem all that thrilling. It takes someone like Nolan to go and tell this movie.
Yeah.
In order to make it like $1 billion success or whatever it was. But I still wish that they explored other avenues because there's so much to unpack.
And the whole hour of like basically courtroom drama was
So exciting.
a bit much. It's a bit much.
If you don't have Aaron Sorkin helping you out, just don't, man. Like, yeah.
Goes boom. Cinema rules. Prepare for a long-ass movie that keeps you hooked by trotting out a new beloved actor every 10 minutes.
That's
like
true.
Robert Downey Jr.'s triumphant return after whatever this was. Who's moved on from Tony Stark
Terrible.
by playing a businessman / weapons developer with a massive ego. In black and white, Emily Blunt steals every scene as Kitty Oppenheimer, who's there to literally drink and know things.
Wake up!
Smart move by Robert to make her his hand. Matt Damon plays a guy pushing a technology he doesn't understand, so we all knew he'd nail the role.
Fortune favors the brave.
And every physicist you've ever heard of pops up to reminisce about this one time at bomb camp. Not Einstein, though. He's not invited.
Greatest scientific mind of our time.
Of his time.
How many people do you know who proved Einstein wrong?
I'm not sure you understand, Albert.
Yeah, take a hike, Einstein. E = MC. Square. Stick around for a film with more going on than his usual time-wank dead woman boy genius bit. There's also some thoughtful engagement with American politics, meditations on guilt and responsibility, and the perspective of the Japanese and native people most directly affected by the bombs. In a film with a nuanced message, we may one day be engulfed by nuclear fire, all thanks to J. Robert Oppenheimer. But he felt wee bad about it, okay? Sorry about the apocalypse. So bunker up for the least likely blockbuster of the summer. That's probably Nolan's best film yet, proving audiences will support and enjoy stories with extremely serious grown-up subject matter. But still, nothing could be funnier than someone watching this because Barbie memed them into the theater.
Do you guys ever think about dying?
I do now, constantly. Starring Irish Starbomb, Kitty Pryde, Oppie Doesn't Know, Haterade, Flo the Progressive, Boring, Relativity Media.
Relativity
Jesse, we need to cook. Worst Casey scenario, Bohemian Testimony, Uncut Nuclei, Feigned Interest, 10 Things I Hate About Boom, Josh Hartnett.
Oh my
in
God, what a
glasses.
callback.
Blech, so unattractive. Red Scare Redemption, and the alternate reality where the fate of the world rests on Josh Peck. Better than Drake Bell, I guess? The Big Bang Theory.
I wish I was that witty to like be able to put something like this together because it's like full of so many references.
Maybe in your next lifetime, you can be a room full of comedians who are making fun. It's like there's a team of people here. So
I love the commentary and like and all the like Japanese and Asian people who were affected by this bomb more than like anyone else. Like no comment on that. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they kind of showed it. It's multifold, right? Because they basically I think in the film they did illustrate it, but it doesn't do much for Oppenheimer's guilt.
Yeah.
Japan was kind of. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this. They were relentless. Like there was no other way to stop them.
Yeah.
You know, even after they dropped the first bomb, Japan didn't give up. And it was like, that first bomb was enough.
Yeah.
And they didn't stop initially. It took 2 bombs for them to go, for the Emperor to come out, and who's never come out before.
And say like, okay,
we'll sign the peace treaty, all that stuff. What was leading up to that, all the events leading up to that, I wish that they covered it a little bit, because what Japan was doing was pretty brutal. It was really, really bad. There were innocent victims in the whole thing, because the places that were struck were not military bases.
Yeah.
They were
obviously civilian.
Civilian, yeah. They did show what was going on in Oppenheimer's head of seeing people suffering. It's like that was the way they related it to the Japanese victims, was seeing his own people suffer.
And his guilt also.
And his guilt.
Yeah. I had never heard of him, and I met a lot of people who had, and they were like, yeah, he was painted as this villain. And I guess my interpretation of the film was, Christopher Nolan is trying to humanize him and explain that it's not all one man's fault. It's like a group of people who've let this happen, and he warned people, if anything, of like the dangers. So I kind of saw it as like Nolan being like, let's not put this all on one man's shoulders.
No, it's humanity.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like the movie failed to communicate, is its humanity. Because if it wasn't Oppenheimer, it would have been somebody.
Yeah.
At some point, someone would have come up with it. It was inevitable. It's like if Steve Jobs and Apple didn't make the iPhone, eventually there would be an iPhone of some kind. It just wouldn't be Apple's.
Yeah.
And so I feel like some things are just inevitable based on all the things happening at that time, with like war and, people getting more and more, bigger guns, to say the least, right? Eventually someone's going to come out with like the big showstopper gun. The stuff leading up to and the stuff right after could have been interesting stuff to explore, but they were like intensely focused on this courtroom drama. And I'm like, why is this in IMAX? This is such a silly movie to have in IMAX. Outside of the explosion, which was quite underwhelming for me, just because so much was built up to it.
Yeah.
It almost felt like the Mission Impossible, motorcycle jump with Tom Cruise. It's just like, you showed so much in the trailer. Like, by the time we got there, I was just slightly underwhelmed.
I hear that.
I was more captivated by everything else happening in the film than the explosion itself. The lead up to the explosion was more exciting than the explosion. And part of the reason why is because I felt like they didn't perfectly or more accurately capture the look of a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At least how we study it, and like, the mushroom shape and all that.
It just looked like an explosion.
Yeah. I did like that it was silent. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, the way they did sound was interesting, because there was like a delay. Like, you'd see the explosion and then you'd hear it later.
And it was kind of like slow motion almost of your heart beating, and you're like,
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed all that. But anyway, in terms of the commentary here, I enjoyed it. I think that this is a strange film to... The pitch meeting did a pretty good job of making fun of it. I know you're not familiar with that. That's for the audience. But like, this is one of those things that's difficult to do in this kind of format, I feel like. Like, how do you make fun of this film in a like ruffle kind of way, rolling on the floor, Lamau kind of way? You know what I mean? Like, how do you accomplish that with this particular movie? It's tough. With what it does doesn't actually do anything wrong. You know what I mean? In terms of acting, in terms of like the
editing,
editing, the accuracy of the story. It's like, that's all fine. It's like, good job. It's just like what it didn't talk about is what was frustrating.
And I think a lot of people also came in with like, Christopher Nolan has a style of like storytelling that will always kind of leave you with like a twist or something. And I think Oppenheimer doesn't really do that. Like, there's twists and turns within, but there's no big like drop at the end. And so I spoke with a lot of people who felt that they were disappointed that it wasn't a Memento or a whatever.
I don't know what you could have hoped for from a film about Oppenheimer.
Because you know where it's going to go. Yeah, he's just doing
I just didn't feel like I got my speeding top moment at the end of the movie. What the fuck?
It's like, actually, psych, the explosion didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.